All right. So welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I know we're coming down to the end of the year, December. A lot of people are like holiday mode, checked out. So I definitely appreciate you guys for, being on the call, sticking with it, sticking with your business, being consistent. Um, you know, um, is this event that we went to was in Las Vegas. It was called the GoPro Recruiting Mastery Event. And for you guys who, most of you hopefully are familiar with the GoPro series, the GoPro book that Eric Worre wrote. He is a networking, what do you call it? A network marketing expert. Right? He's like the expert for network marketing. He's made millions in it. I don't know if he's still associated with any particular network marketing, but he's the one that all network marketing companies look to as, the motivator, the expert, that type of thing. So he has put this event on in Vegas. This is the first time I've ever been, but I think he said it was like the 7th year that they've done it. And it's once a year. I think it's typically in Vegas. They've already scheduled next year. So I'd like to go again, if we can get some discount tickets again. So I think everyone there, Trish, Eddie, Kelly, Paul, Amanda, we all really enjoyed it. It was all of our first time. We saw Tony Robbins. He was a headliner. He spoke for, I think, like over 3 hours. He was so motivational. I mean, if you guys have not been to a Tony Robbins event, I would highly recommend it. There is nothing like it. You guys know me, I'm not an extrovert or a sapphire or whatever else you want to call it, but if you are that type of personality, you would love it. You would be like on the ceiling. You probably wouldn't sleep all night long. He keeps you in a heightened state throughout his whole presentation, so that you never your mind never wanders. You never days off or anything like that. So I thought it was really cool, and he did share some great information. And then the third headliner was Sir Richard Branson, who is in charge of like he's the founder of the Virgin line, the Virgin Records, Virgin Air. I think he said he had like 32 companies. So he's quite an individual and just an amazing individual. So it was really cool to hear from those 3 people. But then they had network marketers from, they said, over 130 countries, and over, I think, 200 companies, MLM companies. So there were, I know there was a lot of Team Beachbody coaches there. There were like, I think there was about 20,000 people at this event. But obviously most of them were from other network marketing companies. So it was really cool to see people from all these different countries, speaking different languages, all part of network marketing. So that was really interesting to me. And I think we heard from like 30 other speakers. They had, they said that every single person that spoke made over $1 million a year. And some of these people were in their 20s, okay, doing network marketing. So they weren't like founders of Amway, They did have some guy who did make, hundreds of millions of dollars speak. So they had, people that were like brand new coaches, well, not brand new, but, relatively new in network marketing, and then people who had been in it for 20 years. But every single person that spoke, was $1 million earner, which was very cool. Let me just share my screen and share something with you guys that I took a picture of. There, can you see that picture? Okay, so that was one of the first slides that they started off with, just showing how big network marketing is, and it's not dying down, it's growing. You can see how much it's grown, and these numbers are in billions. Okay, so if you think network marketing is on the decline, if it's going away, it is not. It's like you heard of companies like Amway or some of these old network marketing companies, but and like you wonder, well, they've disappeared, so network marketing's going away, but that's not true. They're just expanding into other countries. So that was like one of the cool pictures that I took. And then there were some other graphics that they said that 7 out of 10 network marketers are millennialists. So I think they define millennialists as 19 to 35. So if you are in that age bracket, you are a millennialist, and 7 out of 10. Brian, you're a millennialist? No. So you are the majority, right, in network marketing. Also, it was interesting that I think they said 7 out of 10 were women, which was kind of, I know we all know that about Beachbody. It's probably 9 out of 10 are Beachbody, but if you're 7 out of 10, if you're a millennialist and you're a woman, you are in the right, line of work. You are in the right business, okay? So those were some stats they threw up right in the beginning as an introduction. Something else that Eric Worre said, it's like they had, how many speakers? They had 30 some speakers. So, we were there from 9 in the morning until 10 or 11 o'clock at night, every single night. So there was just so much information. And, it was just like they wanted you to write down one takeaway from each speaker. So even if you just wrote down one thing that you took away from each speaker, you would walk away with 30 some key points. And I asked the guys, so we all have our notebooks that we took plenty of notes. But I asked everyone just to share one key takeaway that they got. And, one thing that I took away from Eric Worre in his opening statements was he said, what is going to move you? What is going to change your life? It's like we all have these dreams, right? We all have these huge goals of what we want to accomplish in life, right? We don't all want to continue to be average. We don't want to continue to work our 40-hour-a-week job and, die broke, and living off, 40% of our existing salary, right? We don't want that, right? But yet, 98% of us are not doing what it takes to be successful in this business, this opportunity that can change your life. He said, so if it's not network marketing that's going to change your life to get you to where you want to be, to get you out of that rut, to get you out of that 98%, then what is it going to be? Are you going to open up some other kind of business? Are you going to do something else? Are you going to hit the lottery? So if not network marketing, then what? And he said, if not now, then when are you going to do it? Are you going to, wait 10 years and get into, then start working your network marketing business? And he said, then, if not you, then who? Who else is going to get you to your dreams? So that was kind of key for me. And he talked about, most people think like an employee, and you guys know this, right? I mean, and we train our kids to think like an employee, like from the time, that they're little, right? We say, we tell them, what to eat. We tell them to eat their vegetables or there's going to be consequences. We tell them that they have to brush their teeth or there's going to be consequences, right? It's like when they go to school, they have to follow rules or there's going to be consequences, right? And then when you go to college, you go to, they tell you you have to go to college to get a job, so that you can work 40 hours for the rest of your life, and so it's like this whole mentality, right? And even at your job, you don't have freedom. You can't do what you want. You still have people that are going to tell you exactly what you have to do, when you can take off, how long you can take off, how much money you can earn, right? But network marketing breaks all those rules, right? You are your own boss. You can do what you want to do. You have complete freedom, right? It's like an entrepreneur mindset, right? And most of us, we have been trained since we're a little kid that, we have the employee mindset. So when you're given an opportunity like this, right, a business with unlimited potential that could be millions of dollars for you of income every year, people don't know what to do with it, right? They wait for somebody to tell them what to do, right? You wait for your coach to tell you what to do. You wait for your upline, or, you don't do something because, my upline never taught me how to do Facebook advertising, or my upline never taught me how to talk to people, this is your business. You have to change your mindset. They said that an entrepreneur will, create structure where an employee will just fit into a structure. So he said employees are willing to take 2 weeks of risk. That's it. Because, typically you get, 2 weeks of severance pay as an employee, right? You get 2 weeks of vacation. It's just our minds are trained to 2 weeks of risk. That's all we're willing to take. So when new coaches or network marketers come into this business, a lot of times if they don't make money in the first 2 weeks, they check out. They might not quit right away, but they don't try. They stop trying, right? So you got to break out of that mindset if you want to be successful. He said that he took a poll and he went around and asking people who had started another business other than MLM, other than network marketing. And, I wrote down the average was people who started their own business spent an average, some had spent a lot more, some had spent a little less, but the average was about $65,000. It cost them $65,000 to start their other business. Whether, they didn't really say what it was, but it could have been like opening a restaurant, opening a store, opening whatever. $65,000 is what it cost. The average network marketer, right? You'll probably spend $1,000 a year, right, at Beachbody, right, for your Shakeology and your business fees, maybe $1,000 a year. That's it for you to, be active. And you're drinking the Shakeology, so we really you shouldn't even count that, right? But let's even count it. So we're talking $1,000 to $1,500. That's all you have to spend to be to own a potential multi-million-dollar business with Beachbody, or with any network marketing. But yet we don't treat it like a business. Like if you had spent $65,000 opening up a franchise of whatever, a Chick-fil-A, you would be working at night and day, and it would take you, they said, a minimum of 2 years to recoup that. Okay. Well, you're only spending $1,000 for your network marketing business. If you did the work, you could recoup that amount of money in a month or a couple months, So it's just a mind shift. Let's see. The other thing, just the last thing that I want to mention is he said, entrepreneurs don't let obstacles stop them. They look at it like opportunities. A leader will spend 5% of their time focused on the problem and 95% of their time focused on a solution. So I know a lot of people, the employee mindset, they see an obstacle, they stop, they wait for somebody to resolve it for them or to tell them what to do. An entrepreneur will figure out what to do, and they don't let one hurdle or one obstacle stop them or prevent them from making forward progress. So it's like if you ran a free group and it didn't work, do you just give up? Right? That's the employee mindset. If you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna say, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to change it up, right? And it doesn't matter if it fails 1 time, 2 times, 5 times, 10 times. You're never going to give up. You know that this is going to work, right? You see it work for other people. You know that they're no different than you, so it can work for you. You just have to not give up, keep trying, keep learning, and keep changing things up, and you will be successful. So that was kind of the intro, and now I will turn it over to Kelly so she can share what she learned.
Okay, I am losing my voice and coughing, so I apologize in advance. I wrote everything down because if I didn't, I would be like Tony Robbins and go an hour and a half over, and we don't want that. So my big thing personally in Beachbody and outside of Beachbody is I like to read the energy of people, and energy is super, super key to your life, your business, to everything around you. It really runs everything. And it's not just like the energy that you get from exercising or the energy you have when you roll out of bed and the energy you don't have when you roll out of bed. It's the energy that you put off and the energy that you absorb from those around you. And the higher your energy levels are, the more approachable you are to those around you, the more people are attracted to you. So some of the things that really kind of hit with the way I already think, but really strengthened that and reminded me, if you were to think of the top 5 people that you surround yourself with, and I'm sure you've heard this, but it's different from hearing it and doing it. Write them down. The 5 people, it could be family, it could be your spouse, it could be your friends, it could be your coworkers, the person that you're stuck in the cubby next to that you have no control over. It can be just the top 5 people who use the most energy around you or give off the most energy. And so after you list them, rate them from 1, 2, and 3. So 1, they're that like Debbie Downer, ho-hum, never really smile. And then there's 2 who's that like, oh, they're happy, they're sad, they're happy, they're sad. And there's that 3, that really high energy, happy person that's always smiling. And just kind of take stock of who is around you and who's feeding your energy bank and who is stealing from your energy bank. And because you are directly affected by the people that you're surrounded by, and we draw from those around us. And you want to just draw the highest possible energy from others, but you don't want to have low energy and be depleting their energy levels. So if you take stock of who's around you, and you might have to make some tough decisions on those ones that you rated like a 1 who have the low energy, you might want to distance yourself from them because they're just draining you. And we all have those people in our life. And it doesn't mean that we sever the ties completely and just say, see ya, go do your thing, we're done with you. You can still show them love, but show them love from a distance. It still be there for them, but just set some boundaries for yourself. And they might not even know that they are energy suckers, and having a conversation with them, a kind, loving one, might bring it to light, and you might be able to help them. And I know we have, I have clients that are, every time you talk to them and you approach them with that, hey, how you doing? And you've got that high energy, and they're just like, oh, my life sucks, and my little red balloon flew away, and my cat ran away, and there's only clouds and no sun, and it really pulls on you. And I don't know if you feel like I do, but I feel tired after those conversations, and no matter what you do to try to help them smile, it just doesn't work. There's just some people who are like that, and you just want to watch those people like that are in your life. So when it comes to you personally and what you're giving out, this is what I thought about today, and because I'll see if you can guess which one is me. Think about if you were on an airplane and you're stuck in that middle dreaded seat, and you are there for like 8 hours and you don't get to move. What kind of energy would you be giving off to the stranger next to you? Would you be that number one? Would you be the bummer attitude and you're in total solitude? You don't want them to talk to you. It's that leave me alone. You might even growl at them if they try to talk to you. Are you the number two where you have that medium energy and you say hello and you smile politely? Or are you engaging in light conversation, but it just kind of ends there? Or are you that number three, that high energy, that jumping bean of joy, and you know the names of your seat neighbors' pets by the time you leave, and you might have shared your peanuts with them? You know their birth dates, blood type, whatever. So I'll let you just figure out which one I am. Craig, stop laughing. So some of the quick steps to like elevate your energy, because one of the things that they said at the event was emotion can be changed by motion. And we know how great we feel after we exercise or we work out and we get our blood flowing and everything, but we can't always just, you know, be in the middle of the grocery store having a conversation with someone and realize that, you know, our energy is really low and we want to elevate it. It's, you know, think the energetic thoughts and, you know, maybe not in front of them, but jump up and down or dance like no one's watching. I was terrified that video was going to come out when you said you wanted to share your screen.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
That's the first thing I thought of was that video. And then of course exercise, because you know the more you build that momentum in your body, the more that natural energy comes out. But something that is really important to me that I wanted to share that was again enforced by this event was finding an exterior passion. Beachbody is a great passion to have, but you also need to find something that you don't monetize, something that's not a business, something that's not going to pull away from you building your business, but something that's going to feed into your business that's just for you. It's not for your family. It's not for anybody else. It's just for you. And it's something that you absolutely love to do. Like when you're doing it, you lose track of time. You look up and you realize 2 hours have passed, but you thoroughly enjoyed the process of whatever you were doing. And you may not even complete anything or have anything at the end, but it was just a total enjoyment of your time. Mine personally is meditation or drawing, because I can look up the clock and I just feel invigorated and I've wasted a few hours. Again, this is not to take away from your business. This is something to do to feed it and to feed your soul and feed your mind. It's something that will help you get your personal energy back to a balanced state. And when you're in that more of a balanced energy state or the higher energy state, you're happier, you're more alive. And the happier you are, the more people will be attracted to you. And the more people you attract, the bigger your business will grow and the better your business will be. And the type of people you attract will be the type that you actually aren't getting drained from. And then you're feeding them with energy and they're feeding you with energy. And it's just this ever evolving big ball of energy. And you can be the third person on the airplane annoying everybody else with your happiness. So your energy too, when you're trying to tap into that and show that you are that high energy person, it needs to be real and not fake. And just, it's something that the more you practice and the more that you balance out the other things in your life to feed it, like your relationships or your physical needs or your emotional needs, your happiness and your energy will naturally elevate. And I'm sure you notice those days where the sun is shining a little bit brighter or you can taste colors. It's just a better quality of life that is just a natural feeling. And when you're more aware of it, it's easier to attain it. So some of like the takeaways were to ask yourself is, what kind of an energy level are you personally giving off? Are you aware of the energy level? Is someone saying good morning to you and you frown and just walk away? Or are you the one who jumps up and down and high fives that person? Which one are you? And when you really think about yourself, would you want to be near you? Do you want to work with you? Would you want to be coached by you personally? So be just aware of that and see where you can change that. Something I also shared with Greg before this that he mentioned that some of you may like, and I can share it in the group tomorrow when I get back on, is created when I got back a reinvigoration packet that asks just some key questions of if you're kind of at that point of stagnant energy with your business, maybe you need to rewrite your why. Maybe it's been a while and things have changed and your why is just not that burning desire anymore, and you need to just refigure that out. So it's like a step-by-step of just kind of looking at the things that you should be looking through, and you are, and rating yourself in different areas so you know where you can focus your energy on and not waste it. And it's about, figuring out what kind of customer you want to have and what personal development that you really need to commit by and what day you're going to finish it by, and who are the top 10 people that you think of for your coaching business to become coaches, who builds your energy, who would you love to have the energy on your team. And, the first 100 people who pop into your mind that you could help with the opportunity of getting healthier, people that you might have your lists going and going and going, and people are getting lost in the muddiness of so many names that, there's people that you talk to all the time that haven't been approached on the opportunity, or who it just wasn't the right time, but you really enjoy the relationship with them, and it might be time to have another conversation with them. So go through your lists of people and pull out your top 100 people and focusing on, making relationships with them over the next, 30, 60 days. Because it's really not quantity of people, it's quality of people. And so this document is just something that I created, and you can print it out. It's a PDF. So if you're interested in that, it'll be in the group tomorrow. So that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Thanks, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And here, I'll share the video with you guys so you know what she's talking about. Dance like no one's watching. All right. You guys get the idea.
Bad, Greg. Greg.
All right, Trish, Eddie, who wants to go next?
Are we on there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. We have, Adrian?
Just go in.
No, hold on, guys. This is important. You guys ready? Okay. So this ties right into the energy stuff that Greg and Kelly both have mentioned so far about your energy levels, and things that we've been able to share with our kids even since we've been back. You guys ready? Yes, you are. Come on, Megan. Get in here. Here we go. Ready?
Dance it out.
They run away.
All the people that came out, that spoke with us, came out with a big song blaring. People were up and dancing, screaming, hooting and hollering, and just that initial burst of energy before each speaker really gets you in that mindset where you're not just sitting there a lump on the log just passively listening, but you're actively retaining whatever they're telling you. So I'm going to go along with some of the things that Greg said about Eric Worre, because he was the host, and he kept coming out again and again and again. And we had 24 hours of notes, 24 literal hours of constantly writing notes that we have here. And so I almost feel like you guys are getting gypped by only getting, 5 minutes of the notes that I have written down. But of the 30 plus speakers that we saw, like Greg said, they were all $1 million a year plus earners. And they really, I think all of them, or most all of them, were not $1 million a year earners that were inherited money. It was people that had built their fortune from scratch. So everyone had, inspiring backstories. And I would say about 75% of what was talked about on stage had a focus on mindset. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. So Eric Worre was, like I said, the organizer. And on stage throughout the whole 24 hours off and on. So I kind of like clipped together a bunch of the inspiring quotes that he talked about, and that's what I'm going to be saying. So he really talked about developing a mental toughness, and how important it is to manage your own mind, your own heart, and your own emotions. And that he had met in his life so many people that work so hard to find success, and once they get the success, then they remain miserable because they did not, along that journey, grow themselves as a person, like in that process. So, a lot of people work so hard just focusing on the skills needed to, check off the boxes that they need to reach the success without really considering themselves as an integral part of that growth process. So, how important that is. So he even suggested creating a personal development budget. He had us write down, how much are you willing to spend on your personal development budget. He said, I think he started out with, I don't know, like $500 or whatever. And then, now that he's a millionaire, it's like so much more, but, really taking it seriously and giving yourself, set aside money that you're going to actually spend on yourself. And I related to that because when I first saw about this, convention and looked at the tickets and I said, oh shit, $750 a ticket. I was like, there's no way I can go to that. But the more I read of Eric Worre, the more of Tony Robbins that I started to read and watch, I was so motivated by them that I took the extra step of Googling, trying to find discounted tickets, discounted air flight, flights, discounted hotels, like whatever I could do to make it so that I could go. And we did, everybody that was there in that room sacrificed. There were people that were there from countries all over the world. People had their babies there. It was, such a diverse crowd. And that every single person that was sitting in that 2,000, people filled audience had made a sacrifice to be there. And it was, it was pretty amazing. And so I was so glad that that was pretty much our Christmas present to ourselves. And, knowing that we're going to have to scrimp and scrave and, just to be able to have afforded that trip alone. So, everybody should have a personal development budget and not look at it as, expenses, but as an investment in yourself and in your business. So that was the one big takeaway. Okay, so everybody has struggles, obstacles, and emotional traumas that they're dealing with. And they asked, probably more than one speaker asked, who all is dealing with the struggle of, not having enough time, or who all is dealing with the struggle of not feeling worthy, or whatever one they asked about. Of the 20,000 people in the room, there was always like a 90% hand raised, like we're all sharing the same emotional traumas, the same struggles, the same obstacles. Like the struggles that you feel are so like major in your life, like they're not unique only to you. So, his takeaway point on that was, how long are you going to let yourself suffer from an emotional trauma versus deciding to no longer let it control your life? So that's up to you, whether or not you, internalize whatever struggle it is you're dealing with and let it control you, or, are you going to, take control and master your emotional, trauma or whatever your emotional mindset is so that you're actually in control of your own life. Decide not to live in suffering today. Like right now, if you're dealing with something, going through something, you have the power to make the decision to not let it, control your life. He talked about how obstacles are gifts, and Greg kind of almost hit on this, but he said bad leaders are destroyed by crisis. So you're trucking along in your business, something comes up in life, which, undoubtedly it will, and that just destroys your business. Well, sorry, but you're a bad leader. Good leaders will survive that crisis, but great leaders are improved by the crisis. So, you have the decision to decide how you're going to, knowing that the obstacles are going to come up, that you're dealing with the struggles and the obstacles. Are you going to find the way, the meaning, and let yourself be improved by these crises other than being destroyed? So anxieties come from trying to control things that you have no control over. So you know, again, having an emotional mastery, he repeated that phrase. My kids are eating ice cream because they know we're like focused on the call here. Anyway, so, you know, emotional mastery was like a theme that he kept coming out and talking about. Choosing to control things that you yourself have the control over. Sometimes you think you have control over things, and so you let it, you know, consume your day and your life. But you know, if you think about it, like, do you really have control over certain things? So things that you can control are your emotions, your judgments, your creativity, your attitude, your desires and decisions, your determination, and your actions. So you have to choose, you know, focus on the things that you have control over and release the rest. And let's see. So you had, like, if everybody thought right now, like, about what your home base thoughts are, like, what do you always resort to? So he had us make a list of our, you know, our home base thoughts. And, you know, like, are you letting, I think my top two were like ignoring and avoidance. So when things come up, or if like I have a setback or a struggle, then I am like really quick to just ignore it. Like, I don't want to look. Like, if I know I have too many bills stacking up, like, I just won't even open them for 2 months. You know, like, I like ignore and avoid like the best of them. And if anyone, you know, like, I used to be, you know, pretty present with the team in the past 2 months. I've been in my my ignore/avoidance mindset. And so that was another thing that I pushed myself to go to this event strictly because I knew I was stuck in that dang, you know, avoidance rut. And I knew that I needed to do something dramatic to like push myself out of it. And so you have to, you know, make the list of what your home base is. You know, it might not be the most positive thing, but whatever it is for you, realistically, you know, it could be resentment, jealousy over somebody else, you know, just having inaction, your fears, like fears of failure, fears of success, and, you know, figure out whatever your home base is, recognize it, acknowledge it, and then release it. And they suggested trading in those limiting patterns that you have set for yourself, trading that in for anticipation. So whenever I start to feel, you know, that I'm like, okay, I don't want to deal with that. I, you know, had my setback, so I'm just going to ignore my business. I'm going to ignore the group. I'm going to ignore the team calls or whatever it is. I'm going to avoid. Instead of, you know, when I start to see those emotions come up, then I know I'm going to trade that in for anticipation. So whatever I need to do to get myself out of those home base, you know, ruts, and trade it for anticipation. And doing that gives you control of your own, you know, emotional mastery. So let's see. So your income and success will not exceed your personal growth. So, you know, that goes along with what he had said, you know, all along, that if you, you know, do certain things, but you're ignoring your own personal growth, then, you know, success, you know, isn't ultimately going to ever come for you. And that's probably, you know, why personal development is one of the 3 vital behaviors for Beachbody. And a lot of the speakers that went out there were like, okay, I'm going to give you the list, the magical list of step 1, 2, 3 that's going to, you know, change your life or whatever. And I would say pretty much everybody's list had that personal development, you know, thing on there. They might have called it something different, but personal development was, you know, one of the top 3 steps for most all of the speakers that were giving us advice as to what, you know, what we needed to focus on. So decide to commit, you know, 100%, only going in like halfway, you know, makes it harder for yourself. And Eddie's going to talk about that a little bit more, about like just only going in halfway. But stop obsessing over inconsequential things. And where's my big old star thing? So this is one of the quotes that I had like put 25 stars by, but he's like, what did he say? Get yourself distracted from your daily grind long enough to let your dreams take root. So, you know, whatever you're telling yourself is so important throughout your day that you just, I can't do my business because I have to do, you know, A through Z of these things. You know, allow yourself to be distracted from that crap long enough so that your dreams and your vision can actually take root, and you can be motivated enough, you know, within yourself to actually make this dream come true. And so then just finally, encouraging you guys to find an event to go to, whether it's Super Saturday, you know, which is like, you know, how much do those cost? Like 10, $15, depending on where you are. Sometimes nothing, you know, getting yourself to any event, because like Kelly talked about, the energy of being around other people. Like if you're around these same boring, monotonous people every day, you know, breaking away and getting yourself surrounded by people that have that higher level of energy is so worth it. So whatever event you guys can get yourself to, whether it's Beachbody focused or like the one we went to, which, you know, was a bunch of different businesses. But I just feel like it's so important to get to those events. So that is just a snippet of what I learned, y'all. But
did you leave any for Eddie to talk about?
Well, that's up to him.
Pretty much sums it up.
I'm not. He's control. Yeah. He's in control of his own emotion mastery here. So he's going. Yeah, I'll give that. All right, tag Eddie's it.
All right, so I'm not the best at this, so I'll give it a whirl. There was a guy by the name John Addison, who is he's an editor for Success Magazine, and he also writes a monthly column in there. So I don't know, just a few things that he said actually struck home with me. I've been doing this maybe for a little bit over a year, but I never fully immersed myself into it. One thing he said was some people tend to dip their toes in. And, you know, the more you hesitate, the less you are likely to actually dive in and go for it. And, you know, I find myself in that position for the longest time till I attended this event, which kind of, I guess, I wouldn't say reignited, but definitely ignited a flame under me to kind of pursue it. Simply seeing all these people on stage who were, you know, roughly about my age and multimillionaires, you know, makes me believe that, you know, it is possible, and, you know, it just gonna take work, but that goal and that dream is not out of reach.
The end. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, what more do you need to say, right?
Well, no, really, guys, this is Eddie's first time talking on the team calls. This was the first event that he'd gone to, you know, of all the Super Saturdays Summit that I went to. Yeah, thanks, Armando. Give him a round, guys. This is his first time talking on the team calls. It took me 1.5 years to get him on here. So, but really, it's like going to things like this, and like honestly, everybody that was there talked about their limiting beliefs and how like you have your own bullies inside your head of like, you know, you might want something, you might crave, like you want to be up on that stage, but your little bully's telling you, well, they must have been lucky, or they, you know, had something handed to them, or I couldn't be what they are. And I don't know where the quote is about like, stop worrying about trying to be lucky and start worrying about, you know, oh, here, I opened it right there. Stop worrying about being lucky, and decide to be good, you know, decide to do it yourself. So, okay, sorry, I'm taking over. Go ahead, Eddie. Anything else?
Basically, there's this one thing you said that, your how-to is no good without a why-to, and that's kind of how I find myself into. I didn't want to figure out how to do the business really, because I didn't really have a good why-to, but you know, after doing some of the programs and that actually built self-confidence in me, and that kind of gives me a why to try to help other people to build self-confidence who find themselves in my shoes. You know, I was able to put on 20 pounds, and you know, I feel like I could do a lot more than that. And no, just I guess just to kind of close it off, he says, the day you get old is when you talk about what you did instead of what you're going to do, you know, and I don't feel myself old already. I still have a lot more that I need to talk about and accomplish. So, I mean, this just gives me more purpose to pursue these dreams and be financially free and be able to do what I want to do, and then in the long run be able to talk about what I did, because my list of what I did compared to what I want to do is, yeah, it's uneven.
Thanks, Eddie. That's great. Yeah, I remember that quote. That was definitely one that stuck with me too.
Yeah.
And guys, I can tell you that, you know, most of these network marketers, you know, their why is money, right? I mean, it's, and you know, the thing that I notice is we as coaches, we tend to overcomplicate things, right? Because we want to help people. Like our why is often more than money, right? It's helping people. And, you know, we want to run free challenge groups, and we want to run, you know, regular challenge groups and Facebook ads and all this stuff, right? Where 99% of the network marketers, all they focus on is a list. They build a list, and they do presentations, and they get people on the phone, and they talk to people, you know? So their game plan is build a list and talk to people. That's what they train their people to do, you know, where we like, you know, oh, you gotta run a Facebook ad, and then you gotta create an event, and then you gotta create a group, and then you gotta do this, you know? And we overcomplicate things, and we paralyze our coaches, where really the basics come down to, you just got to talk to people. You have to, you know, build a list and work from the list and constantly be updating your list, right? So all that other stuff is just giving you people to put on your list. So Paul, we got 5-10 minutes left. What did you take away?
Woo! 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 Paul! Woo!
Whoa!
Woo!
Dance
All right,
around,
guys,
right?
this is how you build.
All right. So we're talking about, wow, they didn't leave much to talk about. So we were talking about energy. We were talking about this stuff. One thing that got me and struck me is actually one phrase in particular was, resources are not a problem. The problem is a lack of resourcefulness. That's a big one. And if we're resourceful, we can change anything. This goes back to the energy. Low energy is low performance. High energy is high performance. And if we want to get the life we feel we deserve, we need to train ourselves to be energy rich. So it goes back to the first, you know, it goes back to what Kelly was talking about energy. It goes back to what Trish was talking about energy. But it also comes down to the emotion and whatever. And what people are after is the feeling. How do they feel? They want the feeling that makes them feel good about themselves, that makes them feel it. And in this respect, you're going to have a breakthrough. And there's 3 keys to a breakthrough, and it's strategy, an empowering story, and your state. You know, strategy is how you're going to differentiate yourself in your business. Your story, I mean, for story, be honest, be true. Just come out there and say, this is the way it's going for me. This is what I'm doing. 70% of the U.S. is obese. I mean, you know, it's easy to find customers out there. You know, I fell into that category myself for a very long time. I'm losing more weight. I still got more weight to lose. I can't be like, not everybody can be like Eddie where we got to gain weight. My gosh, he's like, oh, I just got to gain weight. I'm like, really? Wow, that's like the exact opposite of what most of us are here for. But that's a good goal, Eddie. It's awesome, man. I saw his pictures too. He's got, big time. He's on it. But into this, people buy identities. So who are you? You know, got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with the people that you're at. And as far as your state, it's what are you going to be for state of mind? You have to decide that you're going to live in a beautiful state of mind no matter what. And this is a decision I'm trying my best to come to grips with myself. I'm pushing that type of state of mind as hard as I can. I mean, wow, I had some pretty significant challenges going to Vegas, man, I tell you. And smiled throughout the whole thing and joked about it. I come home, I go to the dentist, and someone sideswipes my car while it's parked at the dentist, you know. I walk outside, and I'm like, wow. Okay, so I'm standing outside joking around with the cop that's taking the report, you know. I mean, it's obviously an irritation. It's unbelievable, but man, a year ago, I wouldn't have been like that. I'd probably been losing it, you know. So it's the state of mind. And being in that state of mind will help you get a greater grasp on life. And, you know, that way you can grow, you can progress. So I'm almost trying to fit as much as I can in here. To me, it all comes back to the energy, your state of mind, being honest, getting a strategy. He did cover, the identities thing. He said there's 6 human needs: certainty, which, it's comfort, basically. A variety, a spice of life. And that's actually uncertainty, but it's something that people need. Significance, connection, or a love type thing. Growth, and which is progress, and a contribution. What did you contribute? What did you go out of life? What did you, when you come to the end, when you're retired and you're done and it's all over for you, what was your contribution? And one other thing he said that I felt strongly about, that related back to that first phrase or quote, was, divorce the story of your limitation and marry the truth. Okay, right there is those 2 phrases say it all. I mean, be honest, divorce the story of your limitations, marry the truth, get truthful with yourself, build your own brand. But that, trying to get back to where I had that other one written down. And the resources not being a problem. We can find time to do the things we need to do. It's a matter of being resourceful in how you do it. Rearranging what you're doing, working through some issues that you've got. I'm trying to reorganize my life around that myself. I run into all sorts of time issues, and I still seem to get some of it in. I'm getting better at it, and that's what we've got to work to. And that was basically just all of that was all Tony Robbins. That was the most influential speaker that I had there. I also liked Richard Branson, and more so, I liked him because of what he had to say. He also dove into trust, and part of himself. It's the product speaks for itself. Word of mouth's the key. If the product is the best, word of mouth that comes. People believe. You got to believe in what you're selling. You got to believe that you're giving the value. That your product is worth what you're selling, and that kind of goes along with the whole, building trust with customers and building trust with people that you're recruiting. The other thing that he had a big thing on, and this was also a thing that Tony had a big thing on, and it was giving back, being charitable, being able to contribute. That comes back to, what did you contribute when you're done, when you're in the final days that you've got, and you look back, what did you contribute? What was your contribution to the world? So, and he was a very big free thinker. I mean, he did some crazy wild stuff. Oh man, it just seems to me like, he's just like, okay, yeah, let's go do it. And completely unreasonable in his way of thinking and the way he operates his businesses. And it was successful for him. And it probably be successful for other people. They got to give it a shot. Some of them do. All right. And that's basically what I've got. Not as scripted, because I didn't jump in and say, hey, I'm going to go talk about this. So I had to pick up what was left.
All right. Thanks, Paul. And with the time thing, I thought it was great that Tony Robbins said that time is the universal factor that everyone has the same amount of, So you can't say, well, Melanie Mitro, she's got more time than I have, so that's why she's top coach, right? She doesn't have more seconds in a day than you have. It's the prioritizing and the making things happen. So can't use that as an excuse.
It's about the time. Like if that's your excuse, number one excuse, that I don't have enough time, then you just don't have a strong enough vision. Like hands down, once your vision is as strong as it needs to be, then he's like, it's miraculous how fast, time will free up when you have that, that vision.
Right. If you got that driving why that will make you prioritize your business over watching TV, whatever, then you'll make. Yeah. So, all right, we'll wrap things up. We won't keep you guys any longer. Thank you guys again for attending. I'll post the recording soon. All right.
All right. Have a good evening.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.